what is happening is that companies now, instead of inviting you to apply for jobs, they are organizing competitions. They're organizing competitions and telling you, come submit your ideas for this, and the winner gets 100,000 shillings. So you're there as a student thinking, oh, this is nice, I'm going to win, and what? But you're not realizing that you're about 100,000 maybe people who are going to submit your ideas for whatever is being for the competition. So what happens is that these people collect all your ideas. They collect all your ideas and they use them to make for themselves a bigger profit. So even if they're giving the winner 100,000, maybe the second person 50, the third 25, that's a total of 175,000. But what they profit from the ideas that everybody submitted, they now use it to generate their own profit. So that's how they steal ideas from people. There are many ways, that's just one of them. One of them is those competitions. So I'm cautioning you against competitions. If you feel that you have your best idea, don't give it away in a competition. You will find it being used somewhere else. And you won't have won, because obviously, normally what happens is that even the best ideas don't win. It's the second best, third best, because they want to use the major ideas and make maximum profit. And if they invite you to come, they will not be able to use your idea, because you will say, hey, you will have more say in how that idea is implemented. That's one way. These competitions that you're given for entrepreneurship, that's one way in which ideas are exploited. There are many ways in which people are exploited like that. People send their songs to producers, and then they never get them back, and soon somebody's singing them. There are so many ways in which this happens. And you can think of other ways. So that's how the neoliberal machinery avoids employing people. They avoid employing people by organizing these competitions, by doing interviews. That's another one. They do very elaborate interviews where they tell you to put your best ideas. And then after 4-6 months, when you get feedback, you're told you don't have a job. We didn't pick you. But later on, you find that the company is implementing what you had sent. So this is a warning or a caution. And since you people, some of you are about to go to the job market, you need to be very careful about some of these things that you're being asked to do. Another thing that is done a lot, and me, I've gone through this many times, is somebody saying, can we meet so that we brainstorm? I just say, no, there's no brainstorming. Give me a contract, then we talk, but we are not brainstorming for free for a 20-bob cup of tea. So there are so many mechanisms that people are using to extract ideas, and even labor, because sometimes, like in these applications that you people write for money, you detail everything, how things are going to work, how much it will cost. You think through it, and then you don't win the grant. But actually, the idea is being implemented after you've done all the thinking and going through. So that's what's happening with neoliberalism. Not only, first of all, you're not getting permanent employment, you're being invited for contractor appointment if you're lucky. And then also there are these mechanisms of extracting ideas from people and using them without having to pay the person benefits. That's how people are now making money. In fact, I see the things you guys are told in the media, I want to laugh. And then, I mean, you're being conned, and then the only people who talk about these things are us in the arts, because we, the people in the arts, see the bigger story. See, we're about stories. So as we talk about the story, we don't talk about the moments, we talk about the story. What story is being told? And now I'm telling you what the story is. But Why do you not see it? Because the other story you're being told in the media is different. And I want to show you what that story is. Let me show you stories of how this gig economy works that the parents didn't know about. They thought it was this big thing, but actually it's kibarua in another word. Before I play this clip, I needed to talk about apps that are used where people are contracted through an app. What the company provides is a platform. That's it. They just provide the technology. That's it. But they make money from that technology. So, so they have this technology. They make the, what is that thing called? They make the app. So now the app connects, the job of the app is to connect you, the passenger, to a driver. Okay, so that's all the app does. How does the app make money? It tells the driver, if you want to get customers through the app, you have to sign into the app with your own car. The driver agrees to pay a fraction of that money that the passenger pays. The driver agrees to pay a fraction of that money to the company. So, for example, if I'm going from Daystar Valley Road to the CBD and it's going to cost me 300 bob, then when the driver comes, when I pay the driver the 300 bob at the end of the journey, the driver it takes maybe what, a fifth of that, about 60 bob. The rest of the money goes to the app. The app is not doing any work. I hope you've noticed. The app doesn't do any work except to be a platform. It's like renting, actually. It's a renting. It's a house rent. And the taxi driver does all the work and does it with his own car. Because the taxi driver is the one who provides the vehicle. Remember what I said, normally in a proper taxi company, maybe the taxi owner buys cars and then you have drivers who can drive and they negotiate on how much they are paid and everything. But now that has been removed by contractual work. So what happens is that the driver is the one who buys the car, and it's his job to connect him, to be connected to the app and to make sure that whenever somebody logs onto the app, he gets the car and I mean that he gets the gig and he goes and picks up the person. So what management have done is that they have reduced the job of taxi drivers to contractual work. And you can even check. You can check on Google it, Kenyan taxi drivers protested. Now, if I get an individual taxi driver and he tells me, CBD, you pay 2,000 bob. Then I go to the app and they tell me 300 bob. The taxi driver who is charging 2,000 bob, he can't compete because there's somebody available to charge 300 bob. So in the end, why did the drivers lose the battle? They lost it because there were drivers willing to pay to charge that money. This is one story that tells how it works.
I can tell you about a company. I took a taxi in Nairobi recently, and I was charged, the minimum charge I think would be that. I was charged less than $2 for a taxi ride. Where in the world do you go in a taxi for less than $2? I asked the taxi driver. He was from one of these companies, I won't mention which. I said, how much are you getting out of this? He said 20% must go to the global company that owns the network. So I said, then what about the rest? He said, the rest I have to share with the owner of the taxi out of $2. I asked him where he rents his home, where he lives. He said they rent a room, 3 taxi drivers. They sleep in turns, 6 hours, 5 hours, because none of them can afford to rent a room. That's the job. Those are the jobs we are being told about, that globalization is bringing jobs. The quality of the jobs matter. It matters.
Remember what I said about competition? The way the system works is by dividing people. So what you have said, I'm in my corner, you're in your corner, I have to do what's best for me. That's how they get away with this. Because everybody is thinking, you're a taxi driver, you think, what does farming have to do with me? You're a farmer, you think, what does teaching have to do with me? You're a doctor, what does have, everybody is in their corner. And they don't want people to talk to each other. That's how the system works. So what I said about the company, within the company, they also break solidarity through competition. But the competition is also broken socially. So all of you, you're saying, let me hustle, who's going to pay my bills? But you never come together and say, wait a minute. All of us are working, whether we are in medicine, whether we are in teaching, whether we are taxi drivers, whether we are farmers, all of us are working. And our work is taking us nowhere. How are we divided? Tribe. That's how it works. It's always like that. So you're divided along tribal lines. You're told, no, you're a Turkana taxi driver, you're a Kamba taxi driver. What are you people doing talking to each other? You're from different tribes. Have you heard what this other guy said about you guys? So you don't come together. Or, somebody will say, you guys are doctors. You're so posh. What are you doing thinking like the farmers in the rural area? So you don't come together because you're thinking, me, I went to school. These farmers didn't. That's how the system works. So it's not that we are asking you to feel sorry for the taxi driver, because feeling sorry is already a distance. You're already seeing yourself separate from the taxi driver. What we are saying is that we all have to see our work as the same. Whether we are teachers, doctors, farmers, taxi drivers, makangas, all of us are working in our different places, and we have to overcome these barriers to see the common story that unites all of us. So the only way to fight it is by all of us who work coming together. And that's something that is difficult when you have been divided on tribe, on class, on gender. In fact, the gender one is the most stupid, one of the most stupid, because their men are saying, oh, privilege, African culture, and they don't realize they are being exploited like all of us. So all these categories that are introduced to break up any solidarity between all of us, so that we can start asking, what are the laws? Should people be employed on 10 contracts for 10 years? It's exploitation. And you see, they are getting older. That's the part of it. You're getting older. So as you get older, you're told, no, you're producing less, so somebody younger has come, so next year your contract is not being renewed. How are you supposed to retire? Anyway, actually now what I want to come to is, how is this system so effective? How come we've accepted it? And I see you young people saying, I'm going to be in business, I'll be an entrepreneur. What? You've bought into that story.